On the left, Cedric Phillips, mono white humans. Remember, Cedric has some Open Series top 8s to his name. Not as many as Todd Anderson. He's got playing Team or Emerge, 14th on the leaderboard of 2016. It's got
just the most ever.
The most ever, yeah. It's hard to have more than Todd.
That's not even hyperbole. That's just the truth.
And Cedric wins the ever-important die roll. Starts with Town Gossipmonger. Forest from Todd. Cedric. Thalia's Lieutenant. Will he swing? Will he flip?
I like flipping. He wants to just get it out of Kozilek's return range as fast as possible. Also the plan for the Lieutenant.
So Todd, a lot of the important cards in the matchup in hand. Turn 2, Primal Druid. He has Kozilek's return in hand. If Cedric attacks into this Druid, Todd will get a Mountain.
Well, he has to attack with the Incited Rabble. That's just not an option.
Yeah. Sometimes you'll see them, and actually a great play against these decks is you'll see them Declaration in Stone away a Primal Druid. Instead, Cedric's just going to play 3 1-drops, make Thalia's Lieutenant a 4/4, and swing for 7.
Yeah, it won't be enough to just cast Kozilek's return. He has to find a way to trigger it from the graveyard from there.
Yeah, so Todd can chump, take 3, go to 17, get a Mountain. He actually can kill all 3 of those creatures that Cedric played. Now, the question is whether or not that'll be enough.
Right. The Inspector replaces itself already with the Clue token. The Anointer Champions, it's good to clean those up, but there's still a 3-power creature with fire breathing, sort of, and a 4-power creature that only gets larger.
I like that Cedric just played a card that says, yeah, 1 white, 1/1 counter on my guy. It's like, yeah, sure, I'll play 3 of those. That card sounds great. Where do I sign up for it? What Todd would be hoping for here is if he can Kozilek's return. Yeah, he's still a ways off. I was going to say Kozilek's return and then set up a way to flash it back.
Really, the earliest window to do that is on turn 6 to cast Primal Druid Wretched Gryff in the same turn.
Right. You see, he's got a Primal Druid in hand. He's got 3 Kozilek's returns. He'll just return main phase, scoop away the X1s.
And that's the thing. Even if you have these great haymakers against humans, the deck is very resilient with some of these draws.
Yeah, now keep in mind, it is not possible for Todd, as you see these pair of X4s, to double Kozilek's return to sweep them away. He doesn't actually have 2 red mana sources in his deck.
Yeah. You end up in these situations where you want them. From a deck building perspective, it really doesn't make a lot of sense to add it to the deck. On the registration sheet, it always looks terrible. But sometimes you end up in this spot where you do wish you had it.
Another Gossipmonger from Cedric makes the Lieutenant into a 5/5. He's debating now whether he wants to maybe play a creature, crack a Clue, pump the Rabble. He's got 8 damage right now. It's a 2-turn clock. 1 more human gets the Lieutenant out of Kozilek's return range entirely.
I think that pump the Rabble, not the most exciting.
2 mana for a damage, though. He'll take it. 9 points come across. Todd drops to 8. Back to Todd Anderson. He draws Elder Deep Fiend. Okay, that's a way to flash back Kozilek's return, but he has no blue mana yet.
One thing the Rabble pumps does, I don't know, maybe if he has a Gryff's Boon in hand, it makes it a lot easier to just close with the Lieutenant if he wants to get over a Primal Druid.
Todd's going to cast Nissa's Pilgrimage. Land number 5 into play, 6 into hand. Okay, I think I see what's happening here. He's got 6 lands. He's going to play a Primal Druid. He's going to chump with it. He's going to play a land 8 and play Elder Deep Fiend and hope that that makes him win.
Yep, that's the strategy here. 1 more human puts the Lieutenant out of range.
One Declaration in Stone kills Todd.
Yes, Cedric has multiple avenues to actually being lethal on this turn.
Hey, how about a Declaration? He drew it, and that's the game for Cedric Phillips.
Todd did everything he could, but the way that the hand lined up, being able to get 2 creatures ahead of Kozilek's return, which Todd's generally not even able to cast that quickly, just put the game away.
Yeah, you talked about how when mono white, there's some percentage of their draws that on the play are just hard to beat. Todd's deck, by giving him multiple Primal Druids and multiple Kozilek's returns, that's really what he wants in his opening hand. This was a good draw for Todd.
Being on the draw certainly hurt, and Cedric's draw was actually very good.
All right, we're going to look at the sideboards. Todd gets to lower his curve some out of the sideboard. Walking through this, I think it's almost just as easy as to say, let's sort this by converted mana cost and put all the cheap stuff in.
Absolutely. The 2 copies of Gnarlwood Dryers are the biggest find here. The Den Protector as likely a 2-mana, 2/1 blocker. If you're lucky, you can get more out of it.
Yeah.
You can bring in Jace just to lower your curve. That's fine.
probably in that. The plus ability on Jace is very good against some 2/1s.
I also am totally on board with bringing in Ishkana in here. Getting to 5 mana and casting that with Delirium makes significant inroads on closing a game.
Yeah, you'll frequently see the Emerge deck here cut all their copies of Emrakul. That's just not necessary. They could keep one to traverse for, but no more than one, and it could be as few as 0. The last card you might see him go for is the Lashweed Lurker, and that's because part of Cedric's sideboard plan is very well known and actually hard for Teamer to deal with.
The 4 copies of Gideon, Ally of Zendikar coming in, being able to keep that Planeswalker off the table, at least for a turn, set them back. It's really his best way to fight against Kozilek's Return and all these sweepers. So that's a big find for Cedric. Typically, you'll see the 19th Planes coming in, so he's better able to cast them. There's some argument for Silk Wrap, because Todd is going to have these Primal Druids. You don't necessarily want to have to attack into them, so the Silk Wrap seems fine. Also, presumably, things like those Gnarlwood Dryads coming in, get those off the table so you don't have to trade your creatures away.
Yeah, I actually really like Silk Wrap. When they blow up your Primal Druid, that's really bad.
Yeah.
So Todd Anderson, you see the 14 next to his name, is he's in the top 16 for 2016. He has 2 buys at these tournaments, but he's looking for something more. If he can finish in the top 3 players at the end of the year, Todd Anderson will get another invite to the Players' Championship. He was the runner-up last year to Jim Davis in the finals. So would really love to improve on that finish. The most storied player here on the SCG Tour is going to have some work to do. You see here he's at 14th, 132 points. Right now, with the season to end today, we're looking at Caleb Shear, Joe Lissette, Todd Stevens. Those are the 3 who would make it into the Players' Championship. But there's a lot of game happening here, and a first-place bounty at one of these definitely moves Todd into the conversation.
Yeah, 30 points for winning an Open. That's a significant swing for really everybody on that page.
And for Todd, 30-year-old, currently living in Roanoke, originally from Alabama. Mentioned 28. It's the most top 8s in from anyone on the SCG Tour. He's got 6 wins. And you always look at that conversion rate. 6 out of 28, nearly a quarter of the time he emerges the winner. And he keeps a similar pace at Invitationals. 3 top 8s, 1 win. That's about a third. That's even better. So not only is Todd top 8 the most, 20 top 8s, he wins a ton.
Yeah, a really great resume for Todd, looking to add yet another top 8 this weekend. Maybe another trophy.
See here, Todd's going to be on the play this game, so we enter the second one. He's keeping, but what about Cedric?
He looks very happy with this hand. This is a slow roll if I ever
keep
saw
it.
one.
He's going to keep it. Whenever someone thinks this long, you know that they end up keeping it. They just don't like the fact that that's what they're going to do.
We've seen Cedric with a couple one-landers on camera.
Todd turn 1 traverse for the basic mountain. Yes. That's Yup.
This is the matchup where you want to hard cast the front side of Kozilek's Return.
You have to do this, traverse for basic mountain, even when you don't have the return, because 1, you got to put the fear in your opponent.
Yep.
And 2, maybe a top deck, and if you do, you need to cast it.
The goal is to top deck it, right?
I mean, he plays, look at this, he draws Jace. Yeah, well, we didn't really get the island, but whatever.
Uh-oh. So not having blue there is awkward, unless maybe the
Sure
idea
is.
is he just doesn't want to cast Jace into it.
Well, this Kozilek's Return sweeps away Cedric's 2 creatures, a Town Gossipmonger and a Kithian. Who cares about Jace? This game is all about Kozilek's Return.
Well, who cares about Jace? Sure, but I don't know that Todd actually has a blue mana source in his hand.
We'll figure it out. Cedric plays Knight of the White Orchid, plays Plains, gets another Plains, nothing else. Todd, whatever, no blue mana. He's going to play Nissa's Pilgrimage. It actually is spell-mastered. He has the return and the traverse.
Yeah, only Confined Forest, but you can eventually cast Deep Fiend for 8, right?
Cedric says, yeah, cut of the deck. We go back. I mean, he's got a Wretched Gryph in his hand. Wretched Gryph's actually the best emerge card in this matchup because...
It costs 7.
Yeah, or 6 if you emerge it. You can flash back the return faster. What I like is that he is 2 lands away from doing that. And at 16 life now, he almost certainly has enough time to do it, unless, of course, Cedric makes a Planeswalker, and that's what Cedric will do. Planeswalker and Thraben Inspector. Gideon.
And Gideon's the best defense against Kozilek's Return.
Yeah, Gideon doesn't care about that. He defeated Kozilek at the Gatewatch.
Yeah, the mighty muscle mage punching his way through all comers.
So the draw for Todd looks to be a Gnarlwood Dryad. It is hard, actually, for Team Emerge deck to deal with Gideon. Eventually, they just overpower it, and then they don't care.
Well, the thing about Gideon, It gives you a value engine that you can fight against all these Kozilek's returns that sweep. You can keep making 2/2s. Also, you just get into the mode where you attack for 5.
Grapple with the pass from Todd. Forest, Shrine, and Elder Deep Fiend. Yeah, you're not wrong. What Todd will have to do is that the Humans deck doesn't play defense for Gideon very well. So eventually he'll flash in an Elder Deep Fiend, blow up Cedric's creatures, and then attack him with the Deep Fiend. He'll play Gnarlwood Dryad as he gets back that Shrine. That's land 6, which is important here.
Yep. Able to... He needs one more land. He doesn't have a blue source yet, so he can't emerge a Wretched Griff just yet.
Yeah, with one more land, he can just cast the Deep Fiend, though.
True.
You know, we were never interested in blue mana in the first place. These guys are colorless spells.
Right.
It's fine. It's this awkward situation, though, where he has 6 mana now and one land makes 8, so Wretched Griff and Deep Fiend are kind of the same cost.
I can think of worse problems, given that he already has a return in the graveyard. Either one of them plays. And Cedric thinking about how he best wants to leverage his position against a Kozilek's return. Also thinking about how to navigate this combat against the Gnarlwood Dryad. Doesn't necessarily want to trade away those smaller creatures.
Cedric will get more information. He'll crack a clue. Gets a Plains. Looks like he has Knight of the White Orchid and Silk Wrap in his hand. Silk Wrap's appealing, but if Todd's going to return anyway, then it's kind of a waste.
The one thing about Silk Wrap, if your plan is to animate Gideon, you do kind of deal 5 damage to Todd that way. Or at least, say, 3 damage, because it attacks for that much more than a different creature that would be blocked.
Yeah, so he'll do it. Yeah, Lava Spike, sure. Silk Wraps away the Dryad, activates Gideon, swings for 2, 4, 5, and another 5. Let's make that a big old 10. Hit Todd down to 6. Land and pass. Let's make Todd have that Eldrazi. If he doesn't, he's almost certainly dead. But here we go. There's a forest. See Todd, Jace, Ishkana, Wretched Griff.
And if it is just Griff, see, Deep Fiend would be great here because you can tap down a bunch of Cedric's lands, kill his board, even tap down the Gideon so it can't attack on that turn, though it's smaller than the Deep Fiend anyway.
Yeah, he had to take the land, so it's going to be Griff. He leaves 1 green up, gets the Kozilek's return gone, draws a card, passes. It's just a 3/4. Todd's at 6.
And here, attacking it with Gideon seems mighty fine. Combine it with an Always Watching, you could have a lethal attack. Or a Griff Spoon.
I love animating my Planeswalkers and then putting an aura on them.
That's what makes Magic.
Sign me up.
What I enjoy most about Magic is the corner cases.
To sweep the board. Todd has a follow-up Ishkana. Keep in mind.
Ishkana will be great at both protecting Todd's life total and starting to pressure this Gideon.
Looks like Declaration in Stone in Cedric's hand will take care of the Griff. Todd gets a clue. Gideon up to 6. Todd down to 1.
Yeah, putting Todd to 1 is big. Using that Declaration, though, means he won't be able to get the spiders with it.
Another Gideon, and he replaces his and then makes a 2/2, passes the turn. Yeah, I was wondering that. Lashweed Lurker, the draw for Todd. That one's pretty good. Doesn't have blue, but yeah, he does have 8 mana, so we could just hard cast it. He's going to play Pilgrim's Eye. See, he uses the Shrine. You can double that one up.
And this will find him that island.
There's the island.
For this turn, I imagine you start with Ishkana.
Creature instant sorcery in the yard.
And what the Ishkana does is it protects you against Cedric just using a Griff Spoon and killing you outright. Like Griff Spoon plus removal spell for Pilgrim's Eye would otherwise be lethal.
Land joins there too. So yeah, Todd does have Delirium, so now a lot of spiders. Yeah, back to Todd. Those Gideon's lifespans can be short though, right? Cedric can't defend them at all.
No, that's not the game he's trying to play.
So plus Gideon, he's going to muscle up, turn into a creature. He's going to swing. Imagine takes on a spider. Knight of the White Orchids, another Plains for Cedric. Dragon Hunter, he'll pass. That's all the cards he has. Just needs to get one creature across the finish line.
And the thing is, Todd has some bodies that could theoretically pressure the Gideon, but he's at 1.
Right. Got Lashweed Lurker and another Ishkana in his hand. So Todd has game. He's got a Clue in play. You'd think one more Kozilek's Return flashback should just about do it.
Mm-hmm.
He will swing at Gideon with Ishkana and Pilgrim's Eye. It's not actually a lethal attack. Maybe Cedric lets it happen.
Yeah. It looks like Todd has a backup Ishkana, which seems to be the plan for this turn cycle.
Would leave him dead to Declaration in Stone, though.
Yeah, that would clean up all those little spiders. But if he's able to cast the Lashweed Lurker on this turn as well, which he can just emerge, use that first Ishkana. It's not dying in combat. But something on top, so Cedric actually can't draw Declaration in Stone.
All right, because he'll draw whatever he puts on top. So just control the draw step. Could put Silk Wrap on top, get his Gnarlwood Dryad back. Cedric is going to chump block the Ishkana and put his Gideon down to 4.
You're still making your way to your seat. This is the time to raise your hand and call for a judge so we can assist you.
2 mana. Looks like Lashweed Lurker is going to emerge from Ishkana.
You have 50 minutes. Welcome to round 5.
That's going to be the play. The spider's down. Yeah, I'll see what he puts on top. Maybe the Gideon, maybe a creature.
Yeah, the Dragon Hunter is the only thing that isn't going to change anything. I suppose Gideon's out and is starting loyalty already.
And then Ishkana from Todd. 3 more spiders. Cedric, not even interested. He's going to scoop this one and we go to game 3.
Yeah, sees the writing on the wall there.
Once there's 5 spiders, not really a way for Cedric to get back in. Because he can play the Gideon, but he can't defend it anymore, right? He'll play it and Todd will just kill it.
Yeah, and the Gideon is solid in this matchup. Cedric's start for the game was pretty mopey. Wasn't able to get that much early aggression on the table. He had 2 creatures, but they just got hit by a Kozilek's Return, and there's not a ton you can always do about that.
Well, he got Todd to 1.
Sure did.
You know, mopey, I suppose. Yeah. So even for that, like, his deck's powerful. He's on the draw. His start was medium, and what, 1 point away from the 2-0?
He got Todd to 1 in the mid game, right? He really didn't get there fast in the early game. It was just the fact that Gideon was pretty good, uncontested for a couple turns. That's what enabled him to get Todd to 1.
So whether you're watching us over on StarCityGames.com or on Twitch.tv, make sure you know about our Twitch.tv subscription program here at SCG Live. So join us in the feature match area. For $4.99 a month, you get to be part of our exclusive subscribers-only chat with custom emoticons and a badge for your profile. Also, you get to decide the quarterfinal matchups. You see your favorite players and your favorite decks in action every Sunday afternoon. So that's going to be coming up in 3 rounds. Once we crown our top 8, we will have voting open for subscribers as to where you want to see the coverage. So all of this over at twitch.tv/SCG Live.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of great players, a lot of sweet decks in the top 8 of this event. Have your vote to see who you want to get at.
And getting ready for the game here. Also at SCG Live, one thing, if you haven't signed up for it for free, you can sign up for the SCG newsletter. This comes out every month. You can get the latest on the SCG Tour, your favorite players and deck lists. So each week, not only do you get to see the exclusive match of the week, you get deck lists and advice from different veterans of the tour. I know we had Emma Handy writing it last month. Todd Stevens will be writing all of the month of September, so a lot of great advice from the players. Get that and exclusive comic, and more than that, it's free. So just sign up, starcitygames.com/newsletter, or go to the main page and click the button in the upper right corner.
The quality, positive. The price, free. Doesn't get better.
When the cost is 0, EV is pretty good.
Yeah. As long as it's not actually somehow negative information.
That's why, like, when I go to a carnival, I just come home with like 3 bags full of free stuff all the time. This is great EV. But no, really, the newsletter is great.
Yeah, the newsletter is great. And unlike stuff from a carnival, you don't have to eventually throw it away. It just goes into your email inbox.
I got this yo-yo. I got 2 stress balls. I got, something that if I pull a cord, it like floats in the air for 3 seconds. some handouts, a couple coupon books.
You're not convincing me on the plus EV aspects of this.
All of these. There's got to be value in one of those, right? Cedric going down to 6 here. The face of SCG Live. We do see Cedric Phillips sometimes battle out in the feature match area. He's got some Open Series top 8s to his name as well, which you got to remember. From Strongsville, Ohio, 30-year-old, 2 Open top 8s. We were discussing yesterday, you had a theory, you know, about my favorite thing on this slide, eats Cinnamon Toast Crunch exactly once per year. We're speculating whether he just buys one box and then just like works over, you know, through a decade, eats it.
There's a lot of mystery that comes with a factoid like this. Some people might just take that at face value, move on with their life. I'm not the type to do that. I had to overthink this. And
Yeah.
I got my answers, and I had to do it the hard way, and I'm going to put everybody else in that position. I'm not ready to divulge these secrets.
So you got to tweet it at Cedric. I mean, I would think if it's about 10 years to work through a box, he's hit 30, which means next year's going to be a big year. He gets a new box, right? If you don't have to, year 8 is really rough for this tradition.
If you're interested, tweet at Cedric A. Phillips.
I think, yeah, he would really appreciate that.
Yeah, hashtag the taste you can see, hashtag what's up.
Hashtag Cinnamon Toast Crunch. You got to know.
And then
the world needs to know.
you too can see what's going on with that Christmas Eve Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Cedric on a mull to 6 here. Todd as well. Oh, wow. That face. This is just, it's a winner. We got there.
That hand has to be great.
That face says, I'm going to keep this, and I don't like that fact. That's what I make out of it.
That face says, I can't lose.
You know, when they think that long, they're going to keep it. They just don't like it. They just don't want to. They wish it wasn't true.
He is talking himself into this terrible hand.
Cedric, you've already kept it.
Like,
in your head, you've already kept it.
I already shuffled twice. I pile shuffled after my mulligan. I'm done shuffling.
Todd's not done shuffling. He's going to 5. Cedric kept on 6. He was checking, do I scry now or do I scry later? Todd says, no, you scry later.
Yeah, you get to know how far your opponent goes before you scry.
If Cedric's hand is truly borderline, then a mull to 5 could beat it if it's a borderline hand that misses, right?
Mm-hmm. It depends what side of borderline we're looking at. You know, is he on a 1-lander that has to get there? Maybe a 4-lander that has to find spells? That hand's a lot easier for Todd to beat.
The 4-lander or the 1?
The 4-lander.
Okay. So if it's like Town Gossip Monger, Thales Lieutenant, 4 planes.
Yeah.
Cedric's going to keep that, right? Because it's good enough to keep, but he's not going to like it.
If Cedric just draws all spells and on turn 4 casts Gideon, then Todd is in trouble. But a 1-lander is better able to just go Savannah Lion, find your second land, double Savannah Lion, and put Todd in a world of hurt.
If it's a 1-lander that sticks on 1, Todd could just, return it and then win.
Yeah.
I agree. Todd's kept on 5. Cedric scries to the bottom quickly.
Either extreme can miss.
But you'd rather try to beat the land flood.
It's easier for a land light hand and an efficient deck to get there than a land heavy draw to get there in an efficient deck.
Turn 1 Gossip Monger from Cedric. Oh boy. Yeah, there's not another planes in there.
All right.
Now we understand why the face was made. Here's another Gossip Monger. He's going to flip the first Gossip Monger. Boom, that's it. Say go. You said that Todd was hoping for a land heavy hand. He got a land light one, but if Cedric keeps missing, Todd is okay.
Yeah, if you just miss.
He didn't. Cedric hits planes.
Yeah, he's off missing. Does have to figure out what he wants to cast here. Primal Druid is not the greatest thing to be attacking into.
Right, so I mean, Cedric, if he has the planes, he can kill the Primal Druid, but it takes his whole turn. That's pretty...
Also thinking about flipping over the other Gossip Monger, not even making that attack because it's not profitable anyway. If you attack with both, you chip in for 1 point.
How about Declaration in Stone, get rid of the Primal Druid, and now he's got to decide, is he flipping or swinging? He's just flipping.
Yep,
that to me is strange. If you're going to remove it and then attack for 0.
So what this does is Cedric now has a board that's completely insulated against Kozilek's return.
Yeah, the card doesn't matter.
And he has that Sorcery Seed removal spell. He doesn't really just want to cast a bunch of 2/1s here if he doesn't have to.
Sure, okay.
Gonna spend the Declaration anyway.
Todd will miss his Pilgrimage up to 4 lands. Untaps. Now Cedric's going to get to stick some damage on. Here's 4.
No Lieutenant, which is good for Todd.
Just 1 creature type, card type in Todd's graveyard, though. Just a Pilgrimage. I was thinking one of the ways he stabilizes through these rabbles is something like an Ishkana.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be. It would just be a 3/5 right
You
now.
would totally cast that card.
Just without delirium.
3/5.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Better have another declaration. Gets through Griff's boon. It's just everything you could want.
3/5 reach. That sounds like a great text box.
I do like this board of Cedric's. Because he has a pair of 2/3s, he can actually continue to commit creatures into this without too much concern.
Right. It's only the third and or fourth creature that would get tagged by the sweeper. He's not insulated from Todd getting to the point where he starts casting Giant Eldrazi's and triggering Kozilek's Return. So if Todd's able to set that up, Cedric has to find the way to apply the most pressure without getting wrecked the most by the front side. I think if you have a Lieutenant, you're just supposed to play it here.
Swings with both. Plays 2 1-drops, Inspector and Kythian.
Now, this does force action on Todd to have Kozilek's Return here. And
Yeah.
if he does have Lieutenant, this attack's really good on the following turn. And then the Inspector will also be Kozilek's Return proof.
All right. Todd does have the return.
All right.
He also has the Ishkana. A lot of things going on, but he doesn't have Delirium.
No. This is kind of a tough turn for Todd.
See, I like this, though, right? Cedric plays 2 creatures, but if you think about what Todd's getting with the return, it's
Well,
1.5 cards.
the thing is, if you let Cedric just go to his next turn and flip that Kythian,
Yeah, you can't do that.
that's way worse for Todd. I think you just really want to return here.
Now he's going to do it. Here's a 3/5. Whatever. Go.
Well, you can block the Kythian, stop it from the Planeswalker that way. If Cedric just finds a Plains to make that indestructible, though, this position starts to look really good.
He didn't.
If he finds Declaration,
Todd loses. Yeah, just that's what you got to do against mono white, right? You have keep in mind Kythian has to have been the one to attack. Cedric cannot swing with the other 3 and make that work. But what he can do is play Thalia's Lieutenant. Ugh. Swings with everything. Whatever. Kythian just hits into the spider, but Cedric takes 7. Now make that. Now make that 8. He's
And
down to 8.
the Inspector is now Kozilek's Return proof, and the Incited Rebels can now attack into Ishkana just fine.
Here is Kozilek's Return from Todd, but wait. Uh-oh.
On the front side, that's just Lieutenant. Though
Swing with the Ishkana. No, it's not just Lieutenant. Just one.
Oh, he's got an emerge creature.
Yeah. Swings for 3. And now upkeep. Elder Deep Fiend tapping Cedric out, blowing up all the creatures with Kozilek's Return.
Ooh. All Cedric can do in response to this is crack that clue.
Yup. Big turn for Todd Anderson. He went down to 6 to do it, had to use both those Yavimaya Coasts. Floats the mana. Everything's in the graveyard. Cracks the clue.
There is a card you sometimes see in human sideboard called Repel the Abominable. That would have been great for Cedric to have. It's not in his sideboard. Todd likely knows it's not in his sideboard, and he really couldn't play around it anyway.
Cedric misses the land drop, passes. We go back to Todd. Now, Todd was on a mull to 5, remember? So when you look at his draw here, it's got Nissa's Pilgrimage in his hand and nothing else. He has no action. Just this 5/6, which means that Cedric actually can recover from here.
Yeah.
Pilgrimage from Todd, no spell mastery. Gets 2 forests out before cracking the clue.
Yeah, as soon as Cedric has any creatures on the battlefield, this Deep Fiend can't attack.
Cedric has a lot of cards, too.
Yeah. Todd does still have this clue. He can crack that, look for some more action that way. So he gets that draw, try to get out of this mucked hand.
And here's the clue. He drew something. It's not a land. Deep Fiend swings. Looks like he got a grapple with the pass. There's an Ishkan on the yard. That's pretty good.
Okay. The grapple will help him get closer to Delirium, though he has to get kind of lucky on that.
Knight of the White Orchid from Cedric. That's pretty good. Gets some planes.
Now he's getting closer to having access to his always watching his Gideons, which is the big find.
Yeah, he has them in hand, too. He's down to 12, though. All it takes is something like one more Deep Fiend from Todd, and Cedric actually just loses to damage.
Yeah.
And Town Gossipmonger pass, and here's that grapple with the past. Mills 3, Wretched Griff, and oof, Elder Deep Fiend. That's the find. Todd has 8 lands. This is bad news for Cedric Phillips.
That's looking mighty good.
Todd doesn't have Delirium, so he'll just scoop up that Deep Fiend.
You could possibly make an argument for Ishkana if he did enable Delirium, but that Deep Fiend's great.
Or he'll just draw Ishkana for the turn as well.
That's also good.
May not be too subtle about it. Swing with Deep Fiend. Cedric chump blocks.
Yeah, he knows what's coming. That chump block just makes sense.
Island pass for Todd. Yeah, Deep Fiend on upkeep. 4 permanents. Quick scoops together the 8 lands.
Yep.
Taps everything. Yeah, okay. Just looks at that always watching. Yeah. Draws. Okay, planes. He might have a play. Yeah, he's got a 1-drop, Dragon Hunter.
Okay. Given that Todd did draw Ishkana, if he finds something to enable Delirium and cast that, this game's all but over. Even the 3/5 blocker is going to be tough for Cedric.
Swings both creatures. Cedric is down to 2. Primal Druid Ishkana. Creature, instant, sorcery. Well, nothing else. It's just a spider. But 2 on Cedric's side, 6 on Todd's.
Cedric has a Declaration in Stone for the Deep Fiends. He's got a fighting chance.
I suppose, yeah, you can just win it the straight up way. 2 Declaration Stones would be pretty good. I don't know. It's close. He certainly needs it. I think it starts with a Declaration in Stone.
Yep. In other board states, you could have outs that revolve around Griffspoon, given that Ishkana does have reach. That's kind of off.
Sure. I guess there's just 2 cards in Cedric's hand. He's been chump blocking for a while. 4 mana. Make that 3 cards. But here's Gideon. It's going to make a blocker. Cedric's at 2. It's 3 lethal attackers on Todd's side, so he's chumping the board away. But he'll still have Gideon left over.
Right, and the Gideon is attacking for most of Todd's life total, but not all of it.
Yeah, it does give Cedric some outs, though. You know, things like a Declaration into Griffspoon. Todd plays a 2nd Primal Druid, so the out's still there.
I might
Declaration?
I might have hung the Ishkana back because Griffspoon makes this Gideon lethal. He found Thraben Inspector. He can
try to get Griffspoon?
Crack Clue. If he finds Griffspoon, he has this game.
Deckstone plus Gideon's a human, right? Yeah, Deckstone plus Lolly's Lieutenant.
Yep, that would do it too. He doesn't have enough mana. Thraben Inspector, those already have to have been in his hand.
If he has Griffspoon in, he can try to Inspector into it. Looks at Todd's graveyard. He's certainly dead if he doesn't win this turn.
Yes. Yeah, just 3 lethal attackers on Todd's side of the battlefield. Curious what the other card Cedric has in hand that's giving him pause. Maybe if he just has Declaration, thinking about just declaring the Deep Fiends, putting the ally in front of the spider for a couple turns.
No cards in Todd's hand. He just has the Griffspoon. It's just.
This would be a great slow roll.
If they're in his deck, he has an out.
If he just has 2 creatures to throw on the battlefield in addition to Knight Ally, and you can wait to draw the clue, you get to go a card deeper to try to find the Griffspoon, where if you play Inspector Crack Clue, you won't have an avenue to block you out of this turn necessarily.
Yeah, you get to go a card deeper. What the issue then is that you also give Todd another card, and there's a lot of cards that take that out away.
Right. Kozilek's Return is lethal here.
Anything that finds a creature is probably good enough, too. Here's Thraben Inspector. I think Cedric does have Declaration in Stone in his hand. That's what we're looking at.
Okay.
So he can put Todd to 1. He just didn't have a pump. He didn't have a lieutenant. But Thali's Lieutenant would have done it had he drawn her.
And without a way to lethal, he can Declaration the Deep Fiends. Todd gets some redraws here.
Gives Todd 2 clues. Yeah, he had to choose between cracking the clue for Griffspoon or for declaring away the Elder Deep Fiends. But he gets rid of the 2 Eldrazi's. Todd is going to draw those cards off them.
And for Todd, Return is lethal.
Oh, yeah, kills all the blockers, sure.
Can he find it? The first draw looked like a forest. Didn't see the second one.
It was a spell. It's Jace. Draws Gather the Pack. Uh-oh.
Gather's solid.
Uh-oh.
He's got some finds. An Elder Deep Fiend would be lethal. Tap down all those blockers.
Gather the Pack. Just crossing your fingers if you're Cedric. Traverse, Ishkana, Pilgrim's Eye, Jace, Kozilek's Return. Well, the return's in the yard, but he doesn't have the Eldrazi.
The Ishkana should
Be
give
Delirium,
him blockers to insulate against what Cedric has going on. So this doesn't look like he can make anything lethal happen this turn, but he can insulate his board position.
He takes both Pilgrim's Eye and Ishkana. Sorcery, instant creature. Does he not have Delirium? I don't know if he has a 4th card type.
I'm not seeing a land.
He would have had to have left Pilgrim's Eye in the graveyard if he wanted Delirium.
Yeah, I haven't seen a
Yeah,
vessel.
he doesn't have Delirium. 3 card types. He'll swing Ishkana. I'm a little surprised there. I would think that he would want to bin the Pilgrim's Eye to get these 1/2 spiders. With Cedric at 2, that seems pretty nice.
Yeah, the Pilgrim's Eye itself does not seem substantial. Certainly given that you won't be able to make spiders, it seems to have less value than 3 spiders for sure.
A chump block with Thraben Inspector on the Ishkana. Todd's got to decide what he wants to do now. If he plays Jace, then he certainly wins next turn. Right, flips it,
Can
gets
cast the
grapple,
return.
or yeah, gets grapples into a wretched Griff, blah, blah, blah.
He could just Jace the Kozilek's Return.
So Jace and Ishkana into play.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, now he found out. The issue is that he took that Pilgrim's Eye on the Gather the Pack, and that was the misstep. No spiders, and he didn't even cast the Pilgrim's Eye. So it's just something he overlooked, and now we will see if it costs him.
So if Cedric can find Silk Wrap to take care of that Jace or Declaration, that'd be good for him here. With the Ishkana on the table, doesn't really have a way to make Griffspoon lethal without a removal spell.
Archangel of Tithes, but Todd. Oh my gosh, if that is true, what? Oh no, she has to be attacking to make her ability work. Okay.
Yeah, untapped, she just stops. She just taxes attackers.
Oh. But Todd, now that he has the Jace into play, as soon as he untaps, this game's over. Jace turns into a Planeswalker, flashes back grapple. Todd gets something, a Wretched Griff off grapple, blows up the world. It's
Yeah, you can grapple, you can just cast Kozilek's Return.
Oh yeah, he has red mana. Yeah, this is a lot of options once that Jace flips. Looks like Todd has dodged the bullet here. Did not get his 1/2 spiders, but it looks like he will get the match. I believe Cedric has Archangel of Tithes as his draw for the turn. He'll crack a clue. Any more help here? Plains. Probably not. Plays the Plains. Land 5. All right. He's got a 2/2 in play. He's got a Planeswalker in play. There's 4 blockers. Always Watching is the play. That's Gideon makes an emblem. Now we're just having fun.
Puts a Narset emblem on the table.
Oh, okay. Narset emblem. Gideon can do that. That's sweet. No, we're gonna get a real emblem, I guess. Gideon emblem. Narset emblem would be pretty good. Draw through. Maybe he could find an out there.
Well, he was Narsetting Todd off of being able to cast non-creature spells. I like the line.
A loot will discard that Pilgrim's Eye. Now he has Delirium, and more importantly, Todd has a Planeswalker.
And has a couple choices at things that should end the game this turn, I believe.
Traverse. Sure, he'll give that one flashback, cast it. Pilgrim's Eye's in the yard. He does have Delirium now. Finds Lashweed Lurker. He'll go ahead and attack, and that is the match. Todd Anderson moves to 10-2-1 with 2 rounds to play. He will need one more win for the top 8.
For Cedric Phillips, he's still alive, 10-3. He's got to get at least one more win, though.
Yeah, 2 rounds to go. 1, maybe 2 wins for Cedric. We will see. But a hard-fought match between the two. Todd going to 1 life in Game 2, winning on a mull to 5 in Game 3. He takes the match with Teamer Emerge.